Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I thought I would record on this channel tonight for a change of pace. And what is prompting me to do this is Derek recently had a video out about lying, and I was surprised. You know, it's funny with him recording, I'm finding out so many things about him. He knows how I feel about lying, and I didn't know if he felt the same way. I mean, I know Derek well enough to know he would not just want to be around somebody who lies. That's just not good. You can't trust somebody who lies, and so it just kind of puts a damper on the relationship. If it's a relationship, a friendship, you know, that kind of a relationship, I guess the only people we'd have to put up with that are liars are, like, if it's a coworker and you still want to, you know, distance yourself from that person and not get too friendly, whatever. And I told him when that video came out, because I never know what he's going to upload. We don't discuss his topics. And I told him that I wanted to do a video. As a matter of fact, I recorded a video about lying. And what happened? Oh, it was when I was staying at Derek's, and it was just too dark out. And I didn't want to edit that. So I just wanted to give you my experience with lying and a couple of examples that have nothing to do with my mother, but then some of the things, at least two examples of my mother's way of lying and how I know it's a lie. First of all, the first one is something that I've heard Dr. Phil say numerous times, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. When someone tells you something and they somehow explain that it's the truth, I'm not lying, if they're trying to convince you that what they just said is the truth somehow, it's most likely a lie. Now, this is if it's someone who does that often, not somebody like, geez, in a video recently, I said something, you know, like seriously, you know, meaning for real, you know, stuff like that. Or, you know, if you are saying something that might not be believable, like what's not normal for you to say, like if I would say I jumped out of a plane in a parachute yesterday, I would have to follow up with like, for real, I really did that, because that would be quite unbelievable. But that would be, you know, every now and then that I would say something like that. But if somebody says it over and over again, you know, let's use things like that, something bizarre. Well, that's not bizarre to jump out of a plane. It would be if I did it, you know, but if I would say, yeah, I went and got an ice cream yesterday, for real, you know, I'm not lying. And then, you know, and then later that day I say, oh, my car broke down on the way to get ice cream. I bet you don't believe that. You know, who talks like that? Well, my mother does, for one. And a lot of other people do, too. My mother's favorite is to say, and it sounds insulting and I'm embarrassed, like if she's telling something to one of the aides or something like that, she'll say something. Let's just say, oh, I was a really good student when I was in school, and I know you don't believe me. She'll follow up right away with, I know you don't believe me, or I know you don't believe that. And that is like, it makes somebody step back a little bit, like, well, why wouldn't I believe you? You know, you almost feel like you have to say something. So she's saying something, and then it's almost like accusing the person right away. I know you don't believe me. And that's because it's a lie, first of all. And, you know, even if it is a lie, just fucking lie. Don't put somebody on the spot right after it. And, you know, my mother does it often, and she'll even do it to me repeatedly. The other way that I have fun with my mother is if somebody tells a story or just says something and they can't follow up with at least some details, that's probably a lie. Now, my mother can tell me stuff, different things from her childhood, or, just like her when she and my father were young and dating, or when they, were married. And if she's telling me something and it's like, oh yeah, we were at Wells Beach and then we went, I remember going to a restaurant somewhere around there. There's some details there. She's telling me something that might have happened. She remembers where she was. She remembers something about going to a restaurant. I don't need any clearer details than that. There's something there. But then if she just comes out with something and I'm like, well, when did that happen? Oh, I don't remember. That was a long time ago. Do you remember where you were? No, I don't know. Why would I ever remember where I was? She doesn't even realize that there's a difference and that people can tell. It's like narcissists or liars in general. They're not really smart enough to figure out how to be a good liar. And I think that's mostly narcissists, because narcissists are not that intelligent. I mean, it's just like my mother's not educated. My mother made it through 8th grade, and I'm sure that was barely. I don't know. Now, my father only went to 4th grade, but my father was not a liar, and he was a very intelligent man. He didn't know a lot of things, but he was good at reading and he liked to read, so he would teach himself. And he, taught, he wanted to go to school long enough to learn math and stuff, and he was an excellent businessman. You don't have to go to school. You just have to want an education, and you'll find your way. My mother never cared about an education because a narcissist feels like they know it all, and that's it. In their little world, they're the smartest and they're the best at everything. So they don't need school. Nobody needs that if you're a narcissist, because you've already got all that. You were born with it. And it makes me think about when I have memories. Now, I don't know if people have memories like I do, because I'm finding out that I'm an odd duck. I say it all the time. I have things, memories that never go away, that repeat in my head, some things daily for years. It's like there's a little video playing somewhere in my head, and if I stop and pay attention to it, all these things are just spinning through. Like one psychiatrist said that he thought it could be from early childhood drinking. I don't know. I mean, it can be anything. And, like that part of my brain or whatever just didn't shut down and just spits things out. Now, I don't think it has to be a bad thing, because, again, I refer to these people, Mary Lou Henner, I know her name. The other one, I never know her name. But these are people who can remember everything. They can call it up. You can say, what was on TV November 17, 1978? If they watched TV that day, or they happen to look at the TV guide, they can tell you what was on. For real, I'm not lying. I know you don't believe me. No. You can look up Mary Lou Henner, and is it Henner or Henna? Anyway, from Taxi and many other things. And, read about her. It's quite fascinating. So my details, like if I have a memory, one thing that strikes me as odd is I always know if I was facing north, south, east, or west. Isn't that bizarre? The memory is so vivid that I just know what direction I was facing when something happened. I almost can always remember at least some article of clothing, and usually, but not always, the person I was with. Now, obviously, if it's a memory about a person, then I know the person, who the person is, because that's the memory. I'm talking about a certain person. But if I'm talking about something like maybe I picked up a penny off the ground and I was walking with somebody. Now, if my story is about picking up the penny, I might not know who I was walking with, but I can guarantee you I know what direction I was walking in. One thing that is weird to me in Mississippi, I don't know what direction I'm in. I haven't learned yet. I don't have enough landmarks to know. I'm still completely confused when I'm on the road and it'll show like go this way from Memphis, and I'm like, I thought Memphis was that way. I'm not aware of where I am. And it makes me sad because I'm like, how will I have memories? I won't be able to remember this the right way because I don't know what direction I'm facing. I have to learn what north and south is here. And I don't know. I mean, I can look at the sun, but I never know what time it is to know if it's setting or where it is. And the clock in my car is still 2 hours off because we changed the time and I moved to a different time zone. So instead of just having it be 1 hour off, it's 2 because of the time change that I never fixed and then the hour. So, I feel very lost not knowing what direction I'm facing. And that's going to alter my memories. So I don't know. It would be interesting to know. I just think it's weird that I just always know what direction I'm facing in my memories. And I don't know why that even matters to me. I just don't know. But I have a pretty good memory, and it's good enough to know if I don't remember something. I know right away, nope, no memory of that. Oh, well, I thought you had a good memory. I have a good memory of things that happen to pop into my head, but I certainly don't remember everything. I'm not Mary Lou Henner. I just don't know everything. So just, pay attention to what people say. Oh, yeah. So then the other thing about lying that I don't like, and I can't be friends with somebody who lies to me. Now, if they're a friend and I don't absolutely have to have that person in my life, it's over. Now, if it's somebody that has to be in my life, like a coworker or a family member, completely lose respect. I completely lose respect for that person. But, I just try to have a different kind of relationship. I know that I can't trust somebody if I don't know if what they're saying is the truth or not. Why bother having conversations? It's a waste of my time. So, but I had a person, an aide for my mother, who would lie to my mother and then come and tell me that she told my mother a lie in case my mother would say something about it, I could back up the aid. And first of all, I knew if my mother asks me something, I'm not lying to her. I just don't. So I thought this is going to be an issue if I have to call out the aide as a liar because, it put me in such a spot, and I was like, what are you talking about? Because some people think lying is cute and it's okay. It's all okay. They don't know, won't hurt them. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. And that aide did that more than once, actually, 2 times specifically about what she told my mother, and so that I would cover for her if asked. And I know that I just was like silent. I didn't say, oh yeah, I'll cover for you, because I absolutely would not. And I might have said something like, I'm sure she won't ask me. That's not a lie. I'm pretty sure my mother won't remember and bring it up. But I didn't say to her, if my mother brings it up and asks me, I'm flat out saying that that's a lie. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't understand why an adult would even put another person in that position. I feel like it's very immature. I just don't like it. And, so then that same aide, when she would come in and say something, I wasn't sure if it was the truth or not, because she was lying to my mother and telling me she was lying to my mother. So how am I to think that what she's telling me is the truth? And it made me sick to my stomach, because she was a good aide, and I wanted her in my mother's life because she was taking good care of my mother. I just really didn't like that part. And I just, said, look, this is somebody here to help help me with my mother, and I'm just going to let her help my mother. And I just hope that it never comes up that I have to say, that wasn't true, man. I'm not even going to say things like, oh, maybe you heard wrong. No, I don't fuck around like that. Anyway, I don't like lying at all. And Skylar's a teenager, and I understand teenagers lie. There's a whole big difference there. They don't want to get in trouble, things like that. But, I talk to her about it and say, when you're grown up, I try to explain how important it is to be, to be honest. But when you're 13, you don't want to hear somebody telling you that shit. I really think that you're going to either be a liar or you're not. Now, obviously, I lied to my mother. I lied at very young ages because I was doing things wrong very young, drinking, smoking, things like that. But even at 12, I asked my mother for permission to smoke because I didn't want to lie about it, and she gave me permission to smoke. I know I've told this story before, and I went out back and I was on my swing set, swinging and smoking. She told me I look stupid. It's like, first of all, there's a big issue with letting your 12-year-old child smoke and giving permission for that. And then, always getting mad at them after because they smoked. It's like, but I smoke. You gave me permission to smoke. When I was pregnant, lying, that was done. I couldn't think of anything else that I ever had to lie about. That was pretty much, the scariest thing that I had to come out with. And I waited quite a few months before telling my parents. And I figured now I'm having a baby. There's no reason to lie anymore. And, I just don't like to lie. And there's always an easier way or always a way to not lie. Like if my mother were to ask me something or anybody that I just, don't want to answer, you can always just say, I'm not up to discussing that, instead of coming up with a lie that you think they want to hear. And so anyway, I don't know. I had a lot to say about lying. And, if you think somebody might be lying, ask them for some details. Do they come out, easily? Oh, yeah, well, I know it was my 78 Chevy. You know what I mean? There's always something we remember. That's why it's called a memory. You can't just have a memory and have no details at all, because that's just something you're making up at the time. So question somebody. And if they're like, and, you can tell when you ask for details. So that's it. I just wanted to jump in and chat about that. You can go see Derek's video about lying, and link to that down below. And we'll be back with more soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.